It was much smaller than this, so it's nice to see that it has grown so much in 2 years. The reason for tonight's town hall is plain and simple. We want to give the citizens of Union County an opportunity to have a voice. The more people that have a voice, the more people that care, the more people get involved, the more we can make a difference in the face of our community. And there is nothing to be scared of if you have an educated voter. And so that's all I'm asking from everybody here tonight. Be educated. Be open to hearing what the candidates have to say, and then ask your questions. I'd like to thank Nick and Melissa Pilates for being a part of this with me this evening. We wanted to make sure that it was a bipartisan effort on our parts, to make sure that every candidate that wanted to be able to come and speak to you was able to have that opportunity. Now, we don't have every candidate on the ballot here this evening. We do have a lot of people here that do want to speak, and we want to say thank you so much because they gave up their evening. Some had other commitments that they canceled to be here tonight, which means a lot to me, and it should really mean a lot to you because that lets you know that these people care about the citizens of Union County. And so I want to say thank you to those candidates. And I also want to say thank you to you because you gave up your evenings to be here as well, and most importantly, your voice matters more than anyone else. So we will give each candidate 5 minutes to speak, and then you guys will have 10 minutes to ask questions of each of them. I ask that we are very courteous in our questioning, that we are very courteous towards one another, and that we use our best manners possible. Kind of like kindergarten, you know, hands, feet to yourselves, words nice. Let's be very, very nice here and all learn something together to improve our community. So thank you guys very much. Melissa?
I just want to reiterate what Erica said. I thank you very much for your support. Sadly, in the primary, Union County's voter turnout was not impressive. So I hope that during this general election, we do show our support and make an educated vote. This is important to me as I have been the Director of Senior Services for the last 6 years. I am so blessed with a local government that is so supportive of our programs. And I see the impact that at the state and federal and local levels, that's how my program exists. And that's all possible because of our legislators. So it's important to me to hear what they have to say and who they support. And I think you are defined by how you treat the most vulnerable. And those are our older citizens and our children. And my husband and I also are adoptive parents. We have 4 children, 3 of whom we adopted through the foster care system. So I was in that for 33 months before we were able to finalize our adoption. So on the flip side, I see what we need in a family court judge as well. So this is a very pivotal year for all the elections. And again, I thank you all for coming out. And we are ready to get started with our candidates.
And I also want to give props to our timer/bouncer over here, Nick Pilates, because he will be making sure that everyone stays on time. And he will not hesitate to throw someone out for not using manners. So, candidates included. No. I'm just kidding. Okay, guys, so with that being said, I want to start with Paul Mansour, running for City Council. Paul, thank you for being here this evening.
You're welcome. Okay, I thank Erica and Melissa for this event. And I'm kind of sorry you have to open with me, so hopefully you'll stick around when I'm done and don't feel like you have to leave when I get done. But, you know, I'll keep it short. I've been on the council 4 years, 2 terms. I'm seeking the 3rd. I really enjoyed it. Morganfield is a great place. You know, I've tried, and the council's trying to make it a little bit better, and that's what we'll keep trying to do. We're faced with spending a lot of money for sewer and water systems, outdated, broken down, so we've already spent $4 million on one part of a 3-phase project, getting ready to spend another $2 million. We got a little side project supposed to start next week. it's kind of part of it. So we're just trying to improve the quality of life for our residents, and you gotta have, certainly gotta have water and sewer, things you don't see that you need. I guess it's been a dream of mine to be elected for years. I know when I was 10 years old, my dad came home from work one day, and John Kennedy was running for president. And they said, let's go down and sing, you know. Family was always interested in politics. My dad was from immigrant family, so naturally they were Democrats, and being Catholic, John Kennedy was, going to support him. So we went downtown, and of course I couldn't see anything. My dad picked me up. Of course I was a pudgy little boy, but he picked me up. I got to see John Kennedy just for a second. I was just amazed. Left a mark on me that I held for these many years. But when I was in newspaper business, I didn't think it was good to be on a newspaper, work for a newspaper, and be elected to some official. So I just waited until finally I retired from newspapers and started working for the county government. And I've enjoyed that too. So 2 years ago, I started to run, and unfortunately got reelected. So I think it's essential that we cooperate among ourselves on the council, which we do. We very seldom disagree. I think I voted against the council a couple of times, but nothing major. And I think it's essential that we cooperate. I think it's essential that we cooperate with our county government as we seek more money and do more things. So I appreciate your support. I won't take 5 minutes. I'm number 2 on the ballot. There's 7 people running for 6 seats. So I appreciate your support. Thank you. Any questions?
If anyone has questions, you can stand up if you're comfortable with that, or if you like, you can go to the back. We've got a second microphone.
Yeah.
What's the next phase of the sewage?
It'll start there at Fifth Third Bank and go up to the library. Yes.
How long do you think that would take?
Less than a year. It's right now we're be about a year before we started, unfortunately. We're supposed to start it early this year, but there is a delay in the grant we received. So we had to go back and reapply. So right now we're looking at starting about it. No, unfortunately it's going to be in the fall. So about a year. Sorry about that. Things move slow here, right? First thing I learned, you have these ideas, I want to do this, I want to do that, let's do this, let's do that, but it just, takes time to get things done, it takes money, and, just, it's a slow process. Okay. Any more questions? Okay, I guess I'm done. I'll be here a few minutes. Thank you.
Okay. So next, we are moving on to mayor, candidates for mayor, and we will ask Tom Harmon to come up. Thank you for being here, Tom. We appreciate that.
I'm pretty sure that I probably outdated in mine. And, yeah, everybody, thank you for coming out tonight. And this is always very important for us to get together and find out how our local government's doing. Well, like I say, I was born here in this town. From here, I worked 27 years for the police department, was chief for 10. And always like our citizens here, try to do the best that we could do. And Paul wants to talk some things, I'm always involved in a lot of the projects that we did and stuff, but we always had to work together. I knew what they were doing. And the city has spent quite a bit of money. But we've got a lot more to do. And I think we can do it. And we can do it maybe at a little bit faster rate at times, so we can help each other with it. We're not only in Morganfield, but we're Union County. We can bring an industry in here, let's say, the Sturgis or, anywhere in town. If it's 10, 5 people, that's 5 employees that we have. We need to do this and work together more than we have in the past. And this town hall meeting is a very important thing, and I'm a firm believer that in the future that we need to have like town hall meetings once every quarter. We don't have to have all the department heads or all the city administrators and everything together. We can just have a town hall meeting where they can talk to the mayor and a few people to get ideas as to what we can do, how they feel that things are going on. You know, that's important to us. And we do need something for our young folks here. We need to do something that's going to help them to live in our county, have things to do other than being, you know, going to court, seeing some of them. But that's other, you know, issues that we're going to have to address a little bit at a time, as Paul was talking about, and we're going to have to, you know, government does move fast. And trust me, with all the years I had, I would want something or need something for the partner. It did not go fast. So, and I'm not going to take all your time. You know, I'm not going to take 4 or 5 minutes, but I want to do again appreciate everybody coming out tonight. I want to thank the church for having us here in this beautiful annex they have now. And for anybody having questions they want to ask, I greatly appreciate it. Try to answer the best of my ability. Too good. No, maybe I need to take my 5 rolls.
I'm just going to make a comment on something you said. When you were talking about getting jobs, whether it's 5 or 10 people, I think a lot of people overlook that, and I appreciate you saying that. Because if you have 2 businesses that have 5 or 10 people, that's a lot of jobs. And most people, they're always looking for the big factory or something. If we get a lot of smaller businesses, you know, and then we get all these buildings built back up. That was important. When you said that, it kind of struck me.
Yeah, it brings, you know, it brings more economy to our county. You know, if we get long-term paying jobs, not someplace that's going to last 4 or 5 years, not someplace 25, 30 years, you know, and then maybe they can improve later on down the road. That's what we need to work on. Yes, sir.
You know, a lot of people may not realize how much jobs impact financial area, but you can take a payroll of a business and multiply it by 8 times is what the financial impact will have on the people. 8 times payroll.
Well, and I guarantee you, I'm going to work for Morganfield, I'm going to work for the county. Anywhere that we can, if I can sit somebody in the county, somebody even in, you know, in Sturgis or Whaley or something, if we get something going, and there's some way that I can help them, I guarantee you I'm going to be doing it. But it's not just about Morganfield, it's about our whole community as a whole. We have to do things together. And if you notice that this, our community, you let a disaster happen, what did we do in the ice storm? I mean, everybody was pulling together. I mean, it was working better than it had in a long time. Because, and that's things that I want to see going on when we come together as a team, as a whole team, forever. And again, thank you guys for your help.
Thank you, Tom. A couple of things that I did not mention a minute ago. We do have a sign-in sheet in the back if you would like to sign in. And we also have a donation basket back there for Grace Fellowship Church. Because this is the second time that they have allowed us to do this, and they have donated the church. We did not have to pay to be here this evening. So if anybody would like to make a contribution to the church, thank you. We would greatly appreciate that. Okay. So our next candidate for mayor that is here to speak with us tonight is Eric Hawkins. Eric?
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for being here, and thank you for having me. My name is Eric Hawkins. I'm running for mayor of Morganfield, and my wife, Rhonda Hawkins, lives in Morganfield Village. I'm not going to say how long I've been married, because I missed a year or 2. My vision for Morganfield is we need to start at the bottom of all phases of our government to be sure that we're spending our money in the right places. And all our money is accounted for. You know, accountability is important in small business. I've been a small businessman for 30 years. And if I don't watch the small money I spend, it'll get away from you. And the first thing you know, you're spending a lot of money on small things, and you don't even know where it goes. If you buy a truck or a car or whatever for $100,000, you make one payment, you know where that money's going. It's pretty simple. If you buy 100 things and pay $5, it kind of slides right by you. So we need to be accountable in spending money on the smaller things and see what everybody's doing. Make each department accountable for where their money's at, where it's going. Trucks running up down the street, are they running 10 miles a day more than they have to? If they do, they're using $3.50 worth of gas, and you accumulate that over a period of time, it turns into a lot of money in a year's time. So we got to be efficient in our government. As far as small business, I would love to see small business in town, but we've got to. It would be the same incentive that we would if somebody came here offer 300 jobs. These small business people, yeah, they put 2 or 3 people to work, we gotta give them some kind of incentive. For small business, if you don't have backing, it's tough. I've been there. Everything I've ever done came out of my back pocket. I didn't have anybody writing me a check. I had to make all the decisions myself. Whether I could do something, or may have to wait, or may have to go take out a loan, all the responsibility of the government will go back on me. So that's what small business is about. That's what this town needs to be run like. Everything is coming out of your own back pocket. Excuse me. And you do have a better appreciation of money's going. So I won't take up a whole lot of your time, but if you have any questions for me, I appreciate your voice. And, excuse me, I appreciate your vote. And vote for the candidate you think you get the job for. If you have any questions for me? Thank you very much.
Now we are moving on to magistrate. We do have other candidates that are running for mayor. They are not here tonight, but we do have one candidate that's running for magistrate that would like to speak to us, and we would like to hear from you, Joe Willis.
Tonight I've heard, people so far have talked about family, they talked about the children and older people, and that's kind of like what we work in fiscal court. We consider everyone citizens of Union County, and we try to take care of all of them. You get down to the roots of your family, your parents, your grandparents. I'm running for Magistrate District 4 for re-election. My grandparents lived in District 4. My wife's parents lived in District 4. I live in District 4. I have grandchildren who live in District 4. We want to take care of our children as they come up and where they can be citizens of our community also. We talk about things for children to do. As members of fiscal court, we work with the ballparks where the kids will have recreation. We have Moffett Lake where we have recreation. We assist the golf courses where they can help the children with their lessons as growing up, playing golf. And Matt, I think you can see what they can do to kids growing up playing golf, what they've done to our community. They finished ninth in the state this year, which is tremendous for young people growing up. We have our senior adults, you go to our senior citizen centers. We have exercise equipment for our seniors to work on. We have activities for them to do. We have buses, revolving buses actually taking seniors to the different activities they can go to. We try to provide activities for everyone in our community. We talk about safety. We want it to be a safe place to live. We have a great sheriff's department, which we fund. We have great volunteer fire departments, which we fund. They all have new pumper trucks. They have our good fire trucks. And last 2 years ago, we built a new fire station in Sullivan to help us on our southern community. So we try to support our community. We try to keep it safe for our children. We try to keep it safe for our adults. We try to have something for everyone to do. And in the meantime, our county is financially secure as we've been in a long time. So we spend a lot of money to try to take care of our community, but in the end, we try to do it in a way that we can keep money in the bank and have a savings in the county. So there are times when times get thin that you have to take care of your county, and we try to do that. The last 2 things as far as public safety we've done that big a big impact on community are our Sturgis Union Town flood walls. We have two cities that need those flood walls, and the cities can't afford to do it, so the county took it upon themselves. If we didn't do the flood wall project in Sturgis, the citizens that live in Sturgis would have to pay flood insurance on their homes, which is high. The businesses inside the city limits, they'd have to close because they couldn't get loans, they couldn't exist. So these last few years of flood wall projects have really been big. You don't think it is, but it's taken a long time. It's really kept the people in Sturgis. It's saved the money. It's kept the businesses there. One of the last things we've done is assist the city of Sturgis on the interconnect with the water. It's been a big topic, but we want clean water for everyone in Union County. And that was one thing, like I said before, the small cities, when they can't get things done, they come to the county for help. We try to assist each resident in the county, not only my district, but each resident in the county with what they might need. Now I'm asking for re-election. I'm the only one on the ballot when you go to the master. If you're in District 4, you look on the ballot. I'm the only one on there. So just come down, vote for Joe Wells. Thank you very much. Any questions? Right.
I firmly believe in our children staying busy and being involved in things. We're very involved with our grandchildren in sports. Is there any way that our county could consider a ballpark facility centrally located? Maybe if you had a nice facility, it would be great revenue. If you look at Owensboro and some of those cities that have those big tournaments, have y'all been approached about that?
We have, but there's been ideas kicked around, you don't know where you would build it, and it costs a lot of money. If you're talking about millions of dollars to build something like that.
Owensboro makes, their revenues. They
Right.
make a lot of money on
Yeah.
ballparks.
But it's hard to get a team, you get teams in there that you can't play. They're going to Henderson to stay in the hotels. It's hard to get teams to come into Union County to have a big tournament, because there's not a place for them to stay. There's not good play, we have a lot of good restaurants in the county, but it's not, when you get thousands of people coming in, it's hard to get. We need a motel, and we've been looking for motels on Southern County.
I just don't believe our kids need stuff to do, keep them off the streets.
And they do. They have, a kid can be busy they want. We have Little League Baseball, we have soccer, we have football. I agree, I see you around the things that grandkids do, but no, a kid can be as busy as the parents want them to be. We have shooting clubs, we have everything, there's lots of stuff kids do, the parents just push them to get them out there. And the things that we do, whether it's wrestling, whether it's golf, whether it's shooting sports, baseball, the all-star teams they all excel wherever they go. So that they've done, and they do well, they represent the county well wherever they travel. Thank you. Anyone else? Thank you.
I'd like to thank Joe for coming, and if anybody lives in Sturgis that is here, please go back and let them know that he could come and speak to the community, because I know there's not a lot of people from Sturgis here, but he did take time to be here, so that's really something awesome. Thank you very much. Yes, sir.
You asked me to say something earlier, and I wasn't going to, but since Joe is the only magistrate here, my brother Jerry's a magistrate, and he couldn't come because he's on the St. Agnes Parish Council meeting, and they had an important meeting tonight at 6 o'clock, and that's why he's not here.
And I was going to say that, so thank you so much. I was going to let him know that he was at the parish commitment. And Chuck Voss is out of town for work, and Gary Day had a family health issue, so he couldn't be here this evening, so just let everybody know. And I did want to also recognize that Doug Rogers is here, getting his feet, so I'm calling him out. And he is running for city council in Sturgis as well. So Doug, thank you for coming this evening too. We appreciate that. Next on our roster is Jailer. And our candidate that is here to speak this evening is Jason Thomas.
Here's the guy talking about the jail. Nobody wants to talk about the jail. Kind of a depressing subject, I guess, some people in jail. But a little bit about myself first. I grew up in Uniontown. Later on, moved out to the country. I don't know where Riverview is now. And worked all over this county. I lived in Morganfield. I lived in Sturgis for 10 years. So I'm kind of a man of the county. I've I've been all over. And I started my law enforcement career in Sturgis in 2001. 2 months later, 9/11 hit. What am I doing? For all this mess. But a year later, I went to the academy, graduated in a class of distinction, which was a high honor. I'd only been 3 at the time in the state. And then got out of the academy and got hired by the sheriff's office, which was, for me and some of my friends, a dream job. When you look at law enforcement, it's a good department. Always had good sheriffs. I've been very fortunate to work there. Learned a lot. Been there 13 years, law enforcement nearly 14 years. I've seen the lowest of lows for people. Excuse me. Can't hear me? I need to speak up a bit better.
Sorry.
I'm not as loud as Tom Farmer. Big guy. Where was I? Anyway, I've seen the lowest of lows of folks when they get arrested and go to jail. A lot of them think that's just the end of their life. And a few years later, I've had some people come to me and thank me for actually arresting them and change their life. So it makes you feel good about what you do. They had the character and the wherewithal to pick themselves up and move on. I think one thing we lack here in Union County is we see the same names in the paper every week, and I think we just kind of come to accept that. That's just the way it's going to be, and we'll probably see it next week too. When people go to jail, it's not the end of the road. It shouldn't be the end of the road. I think we need to provide some better education opportunities for these folks. That's a big part of the problem. I've spoken during this campaign, actually prior to deciding to run for jail, spoken to a lot of community job providers, business owners. They're willing to take these people on when they get out of jail. I think we have somebody that'll give them a good word, maybe the jailer, that they've been good in jail, they know what they need to do. They can leave there with a job. Maybe they won't come back. That's all we can do is try. There's a lot of things we can do for them. I haven't seen books go over to the jail from the library in quite some time. I'd like to get that program started back up. I guess you should see my team's kind of education. They do get some spiritual guidance while they're in there. That's important. I think accountability is the first thing they should realize when they go to jail. You have to be accountable for your actions. We all are. They've proven they can't follow the rules of society. When they leave there, they need to know how to follow some rules. The rules of the jail are important. They're set in place for a reason, for the safety and security of not only the public, but for the inmates, the deputies, deputy sheriffs who have to deal with them. Those rules have to be strictly enforced. I can definitely do that. I've proven that over the years, I believe. But with the accountability, we need to help them move on after jail and give them some incentive not to come back. And not just fear. Fear only works so far, but some respect for themselves, some respect for their community. Any questions? All right. Well, if you have any questions later, you forgot, I have a Facebook page. Feel free to.
You done outstanding job with the sheriff.
Thank you.
What made you decide to run for jail?
Well, that's a tough question to answer. I love my job as deputy sheriff. By all accounts, I guess I'm set up to probably be the next one to run for sheriff when this sheriff retires. I'm giving up a hazardous duty retirement, which goes from 20 years to 27 years. So I'm taking on some sacrifice to do this. I guess what I've seen is lack of accountability has bothered me the most. And then when I got into running for jail, I realized that, we have some education opportunities, but there's no laser focus on it. There's no focus on preventing recidivism. People coming back to jail. And that's kind of got me first one is the accountability. First, I saw people get rewarded for victimizing folks here in the county, and they just crawled all over me, to be honest with you. But, once I got in the campaign and I got digging deeper, I realized that there's more we can do. So,
Does this county have a work program?
it does have a work program. I'd like to continue that, perhaps expand upon it. Again, there's a little lack of accountability there, you know, it's a little bit loose, it needs to be tightened up, but we need to definitely continue. Anything else? Yes, sir.
One of the issues that I have as a police officer being from Morganfield Sheriff's Office, now State Police, when I go to these other jails, and I come to our jail, I'm concerned, it always concerns me about the process of the activities within the jail. We are our friends, everybody knows that, but what's important to me is what actions we plan on taking for the day-to-day operations of the jail.
You mean as far as?
The safety and security of the people inside of it, working in there, visitors, if, you know, people walking down the street, what's going to be going on in there differently?
Well, as you know, being a deputy sheriff, I've been in and out of this jail, I've been in and out of many jails. We do transports and, our jail's very light, I'll be honest with you. I'm not here to, I think the current jailer has served a good career. She's a fine lady. She's a wonderful person. I think her and I have a different view on how tight the jail should be. There's many reasons that the jail has to be run strictly. The number one reason is safety and security. It's like Jerry mentioned. Law enforcement officers are at risk. When we come and get this report, if the jail's not secure, you know, if somebody gets a weapon, they can hurt a deputy or a judge when we take it to court or one of the attorneys. The things that have to be done are, one, for visitation. Someone comes to visit right now, you don't get their photo ID, you should always make a copy of that. There has to be someone watching constantly. People, it's said, people are the most dangerous animals on earth. And that's a fact. They're very intelligent. And when you sit in jail, all you have time to do is think about how to get something over. And a lot of people think in Union County we just have drunks and potheads. But we don't. We have attempted murders. We have child sex abusers. We have rapists. We have a myriad of people that commit heinous crimes. And that's why the safety and security got me. Like the visitation issue. When they go to court, when they go out on work detail, they need to be searched when they come back in. It's not always done. When that's not done, there are a million opportunities to get something dangerous back into the jail. I'm trying to think, there's so many aspects of it, it's hard to cover all of it. It would really blow your mind. The things we think of, out in our daily life is, it seems silly. If I say their toothbrush needs to not be left with them, or their razor, they give a razor to shave. That's left with them in their cell all day right now. Well, that's dangerous. They have all day to make that go away. If I told you you shouldn't have your razor all day, you'd say, well, that's just silly. You're being terrible. But in a jail setting is completely different than your home setting. It just is. We've had deputies assaulted in our jail. We've had deputies' families threatened in our jail. I've been threatened. My family's been threatened outside the jail as a law enforcement officer. You have to take people at their word. Some of these people are capable and willing to do it. We've been fortunate so far. Very fortunate. Any more questions? Yes, sir.
You're a opponent in this election, and you mentioned a lot of those fine women.
Yes, sir.
Her family's well respected in the county. My understanding is that she is relatively close to her retirement. If for some reason you do win this election, will you allow her to complete her time?
Her time is completed as far as I know.
It is completed?
As far as I know, it is. She has 29 years, which the service record.
How many employees are in the jail?
About 14, there's a lot of part-time, yeah, a lot of part-time. So I'm not exactly sure how many full-time this minute, it's kind of dynamic, it changes a lot, there's some turnover. There's a lot of good employees there too.
As a jailer, you are not gonna get 24 hours, so you can have someone under you at the jail during that day, I assume, like an assistant.
That's exactly right, you have to trust your people. Your people have to be trained, they have to be trusted. Trusting these people with, not just inmates, all these inmates belong to somebody, their family, somebody. You're trusting to keep them safe and the rest of the community safe. There's a big trust put on people that don't get paid a lot, you know, they're underpaid. If I can improve their pay, I will, certainly. I think they deserve that. Sometimes you can't improve their pay, you have to improve their quality of life as an employee. There's ways to do that too, but yeah, that's a big deal. You know, when you walk away from that jail, liability's on you. Even somebody else there with you, it's nerve-wracking. Any other questions? All right. Like I was saying, I have a Facebook page. If you think of any later, send me a message or something. I'll be glad to answer. I'll talk to you all later. Obviously. You know.
Thank you, Jason. Kathy Smith was going to be here, but she remembered that she had another commitment for this evening, so just to let you guys know. Our next candidate up to speak is running the family court race. As you guys know, that is a very popular race in town. I know, I'm looking out here, and I know it drew a lot of you here this evening. And we have a whole heck of a lot of signs out there supporting the two candidates, which is awesome to see that many people in our community involved. So tonight, we have one of them here to speak with you, and that would be Ms. Brandy Rogers. So Brandy, if you would like to come up and talk, I'd like to hear from you.
Hello. A couple things. One, thank you all so much for coming. I think I've met almost everyone in the room, so that's very nice. And some of you all are family down the line, because I have a lot of family. And I apologize for my walking. I'm a lawyer, as a day job, so I travel when I walk, because I love the courtroom. I live in a courtroom as my job. So tonight is my first opportunity to speak at a public forum in Union County. I have done so at the other counties, and this is a great thing. I'm so thankful for the parties that put this on, because I think, especially for local elections and our state level elections, it's important to get to know your candidate. So many times nowadays, people go in there and they just close their eyes at any point. But for example, my race will most likely affect the majority of the lives in this room. So I think it's my obligation to put myself out there and be subjected to questions and to tell you as much about me as I can. So that's what I'm here for tonight. It's very nice to get to see all of you all. A couple things. One, I'm running for family court judge. For those of you that don't know family court, it is the court that handles family cases. And to try to explain it in simple terms and not go into too much of detail. But divorce, custody, paternity, child support, abuse, neglect, adoption, all those types of good things in the world. Adoption is one of those things we deal with in family court. And when I go to speaking engagements, I like to decide why you should vote for me in 3 sections. And then I'll say a little bit after that. First, and I was a speech major in college, if that tells you why I broke this into 3 sections, like a school assignment. First, my professional experience. This is my 8th year of practice. I had my 8th year anniversary some months ago. And since my first day of practice, I have practiced in family court. Majority of my practice is in family court. Before that, I went to Western for college, and that's where the red comes from, not Louisville. Sorry, Louisville fans. Then I went to Chase College of Law in Cincinnati area, so Northern Kentucky University. I clerked for the Kentucky Supreme Court while I was in law school. Had a great experience there with Justice Joe Lambert, and clerk for Judge Williams while I was in law school, and I ended up back home. Because my grandmother's at home, and never brought me home. She got sick one year. But back to professional, I came back home and started practicing in a law firm in Marion, and became a partner a few years thereafter. About 80% of my practice is in family court. I do all aspects of family court. I've represented every party in family court. I have represented mainly children. That's where I think the advocacy becomes most dear to me. But I've represented fathers, I've represented mothers, I've represented grandparents, non-parents. So 80% I think is a good estimate. I'm trying to lock myself into too specifically because the other part of my practice has generally been school law. I represent Britain School District and I represent Webster School District. I enjoy that tremendously. But as you can tell, both of my areas of law focus on children. Now, was that intentional? Not necessarily. But one thing I have made clear and kind of learned about myself along the way, sometimes you get pulled into areas that you excel at and that you care about. I think that's very important, especially regarding this election. Other hats that I hold because I'm a small town attorney, I'm Master Commissioner for Crittenden's Circuit Court. I'm a Special Master Commissioner here in Union County. I serve as President of the Library Board in Crittenden. I mentioned that this morning at Friends of the Library. The library is very dear to me. I've been president for several years. I am co-chair of the Drug Coalition in Crittenden County. Drug Coalition is a very important project. We've been able to fund a lot of programs that utilize the family court. I'm a women's club, a member of my church, which trails in personal, and I'll get into just a second. But I'm involved, I guess, outside of my practice as a community member, and I think that goes to my professional qualifications. Outside of my professional, my personal history and reasons that you should know about me to maybe consider voting for me. I am married to Grant Rogers, who's here tonight. We've been married 6 years. Our anniversary was Saturday? Last Saturday. We were very busy. It's hard to remember dates when we cover that. But we have a 3-year-old little girl named Charlotte Ann, but we call her Charlie. Most of you know her. And live in Crittenden County, 3 miles from the town line. And that is where my grandparents live. Aside of that, we're members of Fredonia Presbyterian Church. My husband's assistant youth director there. And we have family in Fredonia and Crittenden and Union and all of that. I am the daughter of Pat Hagan. He passed away last year of cancer. He was the son of Loretta Hagan, who lived on Main Street in Waverly, for anybody that may want to know that connection. My Uncle Bobby still lives in Waverly. My Uncle Gary died in coal mines. My Uncle Doris lives in Henderson, and my Aunt Jenny lives in Henderson. They're all in the Hagan family. Moving along. I got already timed.
I'm giving you an extra minute. So.
Thank you. Aside from that, people tend to ask me what my Hagan connection is. It is here in Union. No, I never lived here in Union, but I spent many Christmas and holiday here. I learned to roller skate down the skateway. And my Hagan roots I love, and they're wonderful. So I'm here tonight. But my mother's family was from Crittenden, so aside from those 2 things, perspective is the last key in my statement of reasons why you should vote for me. One of the things I have tried to convey during my campaign is that this position, unlike many positions, is very important about who's on that bench. Because again, the majority of those people in this room will be affected by decisions. My parents divorced when I was very young, not in the world. Most of you all live in divorce homes, unfortunately. That's the statistics. But I ended up in between in a custody battle and other types of battles related to the family members. And ended up being with my mother for a while, my father for then a while, and my grandparents. There was a specific period in my time when I was a child that I ended up in the courtroom, in judge's chambers waiting to speak to a judge. That generally is not something you really talk about. Most people don't put that out there in front of everybody, you know, at Grace Fellowship Church on a Tuesday night. But I think it's relevant to this election, okay? And I'll tell you why. I look around the room, and I know what you want to see in a judge. This is very important. You want to see someone that's honest, you know who's going to be honest with you. You want to see someone that's going to be fair, that's going to be fair no matter who you are, what you look like, where you come from. You want someone that's going to explain, that you feel that they will explain, and you want someone that's dedicated to your child. That you know, if they look at you and say, I can't agree with you, that they are always putting your child first. The reasons I know that's what you want is because that's what I want. I know what it's like to sit in a hallway in your brain, keep that in your mind, use it every day to make yourself better as an attorney, as a judge, then you're doing a disservice to the office. Okay, my point is very nice, but I feel like I was built to do this job. And if I'm so blessed to be on the bench, there will be no one that will work harder for your children because they know what it's like. And you can't express important enough how important it is to vote. And if you care about something, tell others to vote. Okay? And if I'm not so blessed, I love what I do. I'm good at what I do. I love being a trainer. That's what I work with. But I have an opportunity here to do more, and I feel like when God puts you through something, He wants you to give back, and that's why I'm running. So, I'll answer questions now. I'm getting all kinds of waiting for the peanut gallery.
I'm trying to be professional and fair.
Well, I'm very professional and fair. I'm not being very professional. My apologies, sir. Okay, questions? Yes.
Tell me more about that drug coalition program that you mentioned.
Yes, you have a coalition here in Union County. I've spoken with them before they invited me to speak. I'm on the coalition in Crittenden County. The coalition is made up of a couple different grants where we have boards that sit together to utilize some grant money to address drug and alcohol use in our community primarily. We do some other things. And one thing that I've done in Crittenden County that I think would benefit in all three counties is, for example, if you have a drug problem in Crittenden County, and I want to see this in all three counties, I'm just using Crittenden as an example because that's where I work. If you have a drug problem in Crittenden County and you want to go to treatment, and it's time for you to go, and we want to make sure you go for free. We have utilized coalition money to secure beds at Boulder, and you can go get help so you can raise your child, so you can come back and be a productive citizen. We were able to secure money for drug testing and payment for it, so if you were ordered a drug test, you can't say I don't have the money, and we don't know if we should send a child with you for visit today. It would be paid for, so there's no excuses, you're going to get anything free, so let your child go with you. That's another thing we last money for. And I would love to see us work with all the services here locally, like we do in Crittenden and in Webster, and make sure all of our opportunities to maximize this grant money the state has available is taken advantage of for our citizens. There's no reason our rural county should go without mental health treatment, drug treatment, or any other type of treatment that can benefit the growth and well-being of our families. And I feel very strong about that because I also feel with water. And when anything you can do with literacy, you need to advocate. And I feel it's important that the family court judge not work just every day in the courtroom, they work outside the courtroom to be an advocate for the well-being of families. And so that's why I've always been involved, and that's what you'll get from me every time. Any other questions?
I have a question.
Yes.
In addition to being a former foster parent, I'm also a member of our Citizen Foster Care Review Board who reviews all cases of children in Union County who are in out-of-home or substitute care. My personal case was in family court for 33 months. We have a case that we reviewed for 45 months that these children have done that. Do you have a plan to try to expedite the process so these kids can have some normalcy, some stability, some future? What's your plan as far as timeline on that kind of stuff goes?
Yes, thank you. Foster Review Board meeting, I have participated in on a couple occasions when asked to. I attend with my clients who's doing on parents and going through that situation. We also have those permits reviewed in court. And one thing Judge Mitchell, who's on this right now, does is get everybody's got something going on with that case in the same room. And we're going to figure out what's going on and what the holdup is and what we can do to see if we're going home or we're going somewhere else. Because the best thing we can do for children is find permanency and stability. And if we do move children in and out of home, we just want to be at one time. You know what I mean? Or home and back. This is the worst thing you can do for a child. And statistics have shown that, and that's something the court is already aware of. Now, what the intention is, obviously, when I go on the bench open, is to take off running. Let's stay with the courthouse to things moving, and let's see what cases we have pending out there, and let's do reviews pretty quickly so that I become aware of where these cases are. Because right now there are not my cases as judge. So we can see where everything is and we see what we need to do. Some cases, because of certain circumstances, may take a lot longer than normal would be appropriate. But being on top of those cases is one of the best things you can do to minimize the time on there. You know, I never want to see a child be forgotten in foster care. Really that thing, and as you know, the longer they go without stability, the more difficult it is if everything changes. And, you know, so you also given their age. So staying on top of those cases, being mindful, being aware of what cases we have, how many foster children we have right now would be one of the first things I'm going to top up. Any question? Yes.
I have a question
You got to fill out those forms, put down your income, those are fun. I went to that meeting in high school, and they were telling us when you go home, you get a parent's income. And I raised my hand and I said, what if you don't live with your parents? You know, and that was the case, it was fact. And there's a program in the state called a dependency override, something that I don't recall the title of it. It allowed me to go on state, to allow me to go to college, because I didn't have any money to go to college. I need parents to utilize their income for. So outside of that opportunity to have my tuition paid, I worked in college, obviously, with silly jobs like Best Buy and the mall and other things. But, and then I loaned for law school and other part-time jobs. I started working at a law firm in college to make sure law was my area. Worked for, actually, the family court judge of Warren County got me my first job. She was a great woman, and she got my first job with the city of Bowling Green Attorney's Office. And they have been friends ever since. So I've always been a worker. I worked from the first day to get a job at Pizza Hut, and I work to this day. It's what I think ego's character and work ethic. So that's how I got through school.
So those experiences, those experiences make you more concerned about making the best decisions for those children in your courtroom than what a person would be that just went through law school and had the experience that you had when you were working your way through college?
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I can speak to what I think. You know, I'm a pretty Christian woman. I think a lot of times in life we stop and we go, why is God put us where we are? Why is it taking so long to get better? And I think all of my possible events in my life go to one thing, and that's to what I'm doing now. Now, maybe the lesson is just wrong, and meet as many of the great people I've met that become family to me. Or maybe the lesson is I'm supposed to rule on the bench and be as dedicated to children as I am in that capacity. So I think all of my previous life experiences equip me for what I would want in a family court judge. You know, as a child, as an adult, as a mother, I think all of those things make me what I would want to see. Yes.
Hey, you need to be the judge.
Hopefully.
You got a court case.
Yes.
Child involved. Woman or man.
First I have to say that I'm very strict with the rules. Michigan require me never to insinuate any way with ruling a case. I take those things very seriously. So let me say this is not specific to any case, and I don't want anybody to think that I'm, she said she will give me my kid. But I didn't say that. But generally speaking, I didn't ask that question. You think not very frequently in the world we live in, but very frequently. And I don't know if that's just because I'm a woman I didn't ask the question, because women all of a sudden are always nice to women. I don't know. Maybe a lot of people have had bad experiences. But I mean, because again, my living experiences, my mother was the least person that faced me. Again, you know, we know that as a fact. There are wonderful mothers in the world. I think I'm a pretty good mother. You know, there are wonderful fathers in the world. Wonderful fathers. There are wonderful grandparents in the world. There are wonderful foster parents. But it's not anything to do, man or woman. If you are caring for a child, then you are going to have my attention. Does that make sense? And we're going to do whatever fits that child. I don't care what you look like.
Any other question I was going to ask the opponent, since he's not here, I'd like to know about you.
See some very
attorneys donated to your campaign.
All of that is public record. I think two. One is out of state. He's from Britain. He was long since I was a kid. And the other doesn't practice in courtrooms. He practices in the house. That's one I can think of. But you're welcome to look. Please double check me. Because we have to report all that. The state requires us all to report all that. So you're welcome to look. Yeah. You're welcome. Because this is an expensive race. I apologize all the time. That's just shame. So. Go be down soon, very soon. Any other questions? Yes.
Are there other programs for children to get going in the counties?
Yes. Yes. Thank you, because I forgot. One thing I plan on.
45 seconds to answer that question.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm on time. You know, I'm going to see. Something you want to say? Okay. A couple things. I'm putting out a degree on the CASA program being a beneficial thing for the family court system. Obviously, instead of bigger cities, I think we get another set of ears and eyes. These are people that volunteer and work with families. Short version of that is truancy diversion. I'm a big supporter of diverting truancy because a lot of times reasons kids are in school or because of something more serious going on at home. And so programs with the school systems to divert truancy is great. Teen court, Judge Simpson did that. And I worked with him in Trinity County. I would love to see that brought back, but in all 3 counties, so that we involve children in good ways with the court system and let them see the positives. Like maybe one day they want to be a lawyer. Or maybe one day they want to be a judge. Maybe they just want to have a positive experience with the courtroom. The teen court was a wonderful thing. I'm involved, so I'll replace one activity that I do now with teen court, and I would love to work with you with that.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you guys for the good questions. I do want to just reiterate, the candidates get 5 minutes to speak and then a 10-minute question and answer period. We did allow an extra minute for you to speak. If your opponent was here tonight, we would do the same for him. So it would have been fair and equal and balanced. But we had, I just want to make sure everybody's clear on that one. Because we do have one more person left to speak to us this evening, and that is, yes. He did let us know that last night. Yes, last night he let us know that he was at a city council meeting. Yes, absolutely. And so, yes, thank you for letting me know that. But he did call Nick last night and let Nick know that he would not be here this evening because he had a prior commitment. So our next candidate to speak is Representative Suzanne Miles. So Suzanne, you ready?
Good evening. My name is Suzanne Miles. I was elected the state representative of the 7th District this past December. I know several of you all are aware there was a special election in Union, Henderson, and Davis counties. The district is made up of all of Union, a piece of Henderson, and a piece of Davis County. My home is in Davis County, but I hope that I see a lot of familiar faces here, so you all know I have been in Union County since last December a few times. I had served my first session, and it was to fulfill the term of the legislator that resigned, that several of you all are aware of. Just to kind of give you an idea of the first session, some of the numbers, there were 4,500 green slips that came in, and if you all know what those are, that's where you call in to let me know how you feel about different cases and things like that. I received over 1,100 phone calls into the office to give comments or request things or need help with different things. I do know that there is some legislation that has passed this past time that we're going to try to tweak a little bit. I have reached out to your county attorney's office that needed some clarification on some issues. We're hoping that we're going to be able to tweak those a little bit so that they're more palatable for the court system and things like that. A little background on me. I grew up in Morganfield, went to Pennsylvania University, graduated from there with an accounting degree, and I do think that helps me as far as the state legislator to look at budgets and things like that. I think that is helpful. From there, I had a small business for almost 16 years, so I do know what it's like to make payroll and to have employees and all of those fun things. And I did that for almost 16 years before I decided to try to do something different. At that time, I went to work for Congressman Brett Rafferty as a field representative. If any of you all know what that is, the easiest explanation if you don't is I'm the eyes, ears, and customer service for the congressman for 5 counties of his 21 counties. Davis County is the only county that overlaps in that because he is the 2nd District Congressional Congressman. Of course, Ed Whitfield is in this area, and I have worked with Ed Whitfield and his staff on a regular basis. We used to share Ohio County, and so the field rep for that area was also one that we shared to take care of the people in that good county. My background, growing up, family farm, family business, things like that, I think has been one of those things that we have constantly been taught from a very young age that taking care of the other people, your neighbors, everyone around you, it's your obligation, your responsibility to do your part. I will tell you that running for state representative was not on my bucket list as of last year, and it was something that came up kind of quickly as far as the resignation and the opportunity to run for this seat. It is a serving position. I think that people a lot of times forget elected officials are public servants. And I found out really quick whenever I got to Frankfurt, one of the biggest things when people would come, it was really hard for me to reiterate with people when they came into my office, that was their office. It's not my property, it's the property of the people. It was the same way we had a leadership class from Union County that came, and they said, what is this like to take them on the floor? And it was the same way we took a group out of Owensboro onto the floor when they came with the leadership group. They walked in on the chamber floor and they asked, where can we sit or where can we stand? And I said, you can sit anywhere you want. And they said that these are the people's seats. They have their names and everything. And I said, these are your seats. It's my designation to be in this area. But these are the people's seats. And I think so oftentimes that we get in that mindset that the further we get up the ladder or something to that effect, that we know best. And I disagree. I think that you know what's best for you. I think that as far as being a state representative, it is my obligation to be your voice as a state representative. I'm supposed to be your representation and your voice in Frankfurt. That is my job. Not for the big government to be that big government knows better than you. This session was quite a busy session with the budget, with the highway bill, a lot of things like that took place. I am new, I am learning, I will admit that I do not know all the answers yet. But that does not mean that I am not trying to. I am doing my best to become the best state representative I can be to serve all the people. If I come across people in the county, and I understand last time I ran against a local, I completely understand that. I have someone come up and they'll say, I didn't vote for you. My answer to that, he's cutting me off.
Finish that thought.
My answer to that, whether you voted for me or not, I am your state representative, and you are my responsibility to take care of. Whether you voted for me or not, I am your state representative, and you are my responsibility to be your voice in Frankfurt. And so that's the attitude that I have, that it's more important for me to make you understand whatever takes place, whoever is in charge of anything, that's the voice. And I want you all to be proud of your state representative. I really do. And I'll go ahead and ask for your vote November 4th. Please consider me on the ballot, and I guess we'll open it up for questions now. Questions?
Suzanne,
Yes.
several months ago, I asked you about right to work. You told me to me that you didn't really know what right to work meant. Do you now?
We talked quite a bit. I believe that was at the St. Anne fundraiser. That was probably what? It's been a long time ago. Right to work, the best way that I can tell with most information that I have found, I am not against unions, and I told you that day, that I am not against unions. My concern with not being a right to work state is if you are forced to pay union dues. And we talked about that, whether it was a closed shop and open shop and some of the different things like that. Everything that I've been told as far as from economic development people throughout the state, we are on an island on our own right now as Kentucky, that we are not a right to work state. And with that being said, we are having companies that might consider us, that as soon as they find out that we're not a right to work state, that they're choosing another location, the state that is. And so that's a concern for me. And I do not have anything against unions, and I think you ought to have the right to choose to join any membership that you wish to choose, whether it be a union, a veterans club, a chamber, anything like that, to give you representation. You ought to have the choice to do that. But I do think that it's crucial for us to consider the option to be a right to work state, so that we have an opportunity to have new businesses come into this and to give us every tool that we need to make our state profitable. Follow up. Go ahead.
I know, right to work, it sounds good, but what it means is a person can come off the street and work in a union place of business, and they don't have to pay union dues. But if they fall foul of management, then the union still has to represent. And if we don't, then we fall foul of national regulation. It's not fair for them to swing on our coattails. And you say that business is not being attracted by state production. We are not attracting companies that want to pay lower wages. And these companies want to go to certainly they want to go to a place that they can find the labor receipts and get it. If they don't want to pay a decent wage, let them go to Tennessee and Illinois or wherever.
Well, and I think I also told you that day, my concern more is that we have the jobs for you to have an opportunity to go to a job, even pay union dues at that point, compared to not having a job. And that's, well, that's one of those items we might have to agree to disagree on. But like I told you before, I'm more than willing to sit down and discuss it. I did not co-sponsor the right to work legislation that was out there this past time, because I did not have the time to read up on it the way I would like to read up on it. So as far as the legislation that might come forward with right to work, I think that there is some opportunities. I don't think it's a clear cut, same way with all laws that are created, the same way as far as the juvenile bill that came out. I think there's a lot of details that we need to pay attention to make sure that our workers are protected.
Well, I was thinking that I'm reading on you person. Somebody asked me the other day, they told me, I think she's a sweetheart, and I do too. We agree to disagree.
I want you to choose the best person for this job. I want you to be an educated voter and choose the best person to represent you and your values. Any other questions? Yes.
I have a question. Of course, you know these elections, the low get higher, the question becomes, right?
Sure. Go ahead.
Start off with thanks for being here. You mean a lot to us. A little more we do.
Thank you for having me.
I'm employed by Commonwealth. Several years ago, our governor and legislators and our city balance for budget severed all raises for state employees. It's been like 6-7 years since I've had a raise. Back in March, I sent you an email basically expressing my concern with the situation, asking what options, who do I need to contact, so on and so forth. I got a real quick reply from you, which was that email. Looked like it was kind of a little automated email that said, thanks for contacting me, I'll check into it, blah, blah, blah. I waited about a month, never got another response. I sent 2 more emails to you, following up on my question. I never got any response back from you. I ended up contacting the gentleman from Jefferson County, who within a 24-hour period got back, answered all my questions, so on and so forth. So, with the situation happening to me in mind, why should I vote for you?
Well, I couldn't remember if I sent you an email back or did I actually make a phone call. We had a conversation about it and I did not know at that time the details. I think that we actually talked on the phone at that time. I know that as far as an automated email, I don't have an automated email that goes out of my office. I don't know of anything specific that I can tell you about other than it has been a little bit of an overwhelming, and like I started off to tell you, I think it was over 4,500 contacts that came into my office this you with the answers that you needed on that. But as far as the obligations that were made previous to me being a state legislator to any employee of the state, or the teachers for that matter, need to make sure that we fulfill those obligations that were made previous. Going forward, we need to figure out how we make sure that we take care of our state employees. I think that that's one of the biggest issues, and I hear that repeatedly throughout a lot of different areas, and I know that you all can probably attest to that too, that our state employees, there was a time that wages were not that great for state employees, but your benefits were wonderful. Now we've gotten to a point where your wages are not great and your benefits are not great either. And so we're having a hard time figuring out, we need to figure out a way where the wages give you a reason to want that job, or the benefits give you a reason to want that job, or both for that matter, but give you a reason to want that job. So as far as all I can ask you is to forgive me if I was unable to provide the service that you needed for that specific item. But all I can ask is forgiveness, and please give me the opportunity to try to fulfill my obligations. Yes. Yes.
From time to time, do they a little money back in the county, help us out down here in the county. We're a long way from Morganfield. Why should I vote for you as far as anything else for you?
Well, first of all, the only choice you have is a candidate for Owensboro. Well, let me go back as far as a little bit of money. I will tell you, as far as coal severance, as your state representative, coal severance is something you're supposed to be able to designate for different projects and things like that. And then you're supposed to, it goes to the Senate, then it comes back from the Senate, signed in on the budget as far as coal severance for projects. Those are items that should be contacted to me to work with your fiscal court and your communities to find out where that money needs to go as far as that type of deal. So you're asking for what type?
We're a long way from Owensboro. We're a little county down here. Do you care about us other than the vote?
Well, I think that I'll tell you one specific story that I think will tell you why I care about Union County. First of all, I told you, whether you voted for me or not, I am your representative, and I love all my constituents equally. The vote that I took on the highway bill was very specific to Union County. Every single item I asked for roads for Davis County. And I had 3 specific items that were put in there new. I got every item I wanted for Davis County. Union County and Henderson County was punished on their road projects. But when I took the vote for the highway bill, I voted against that because I felt like Union County and Henderson County had been punished in that budget. Now I got everything I wanted in Davis County, did not get what I wanted, or even what you all deserved for that matter, in Union County and Henderson County. And that was the vote I took. And I received criticism from that you're trying to stand in the way. And I said, no, I'm trying to stand up for the people that deserve it. Union County had projects that were good money in the projects. Your magistrate can tell you, you had good money on those projects. Now it has money that if it gets in line, then you might get it and things like that. So that was a specific vote. Another thing that happened this past year, I got a call from a veteran, and he said, we haven't had a service officer come. Nobody comes and helps our veterans. Okay? Well, I found out in January, I called the radio station and said, I would like an opportunity to make sure I can stay connected with Union County. I'd like to call in every 2 weeks, give a legislative update. That's what's taking place during Frankfurt, what bills are up and things like that. That's wonderful. We've never had anyone want to do that before, is what I was told. So I called in, gave an update the first time. 2 weeks later was after the filing date. I called in to give the legislative update. I was told by your radio station, you are not allowed to give a legislative update because you had someone running against you. And I said, so you're telling me I cannot do my job for your community as a state representative because I have an opponent. And I was told that is correct. Our management has said you cannot have access to the voters because that would be considered campaign. Okay? It's been within the last month, I received an apology from the radio station that said, we found out we have new management and they said you're correct, that was illegal for us to restrict you from having access to your people, to let them know what's going on in Frankfurt. Well, I'm like, that doesn't do me a lot of good because I had 4 solid months that I could have let you know on your local radio station what was going on whenever I was serving in Frankfurt. So that just is a preface so that you understand why I did something I did recently. Back in August for our veterans. Got a call, needed some help for veterans. I had access to the KBVA. I knew the service officer for the area. I called and asked her, would you be willing to kind of set up for a day to come in and see what might happen if you kind of let them see if there's a need in Union County to have a service officer to come by. There had not been a service officer in Union County for, it was either 6 or 7 years, okay? I've already found out I can't have public service announcements on the radio. Newspaper's going to be very limited on what I can share, what I can't, because I have a candidate. I have been bound in Union County to be restricted on what I can do for you. But that has not prevented me from showing up at many of your events, as several of you all know, that I've been to a lot of different events in Union County because I want to get to know the people of Union County. We had a senior, or not a senior, it was at the senior center, but we had a Veterans Resource Center. Your PVA, your extension office, the KDVA, we had someone come from Marion, from the hospital, the VA hospital, I think out of Paducah area, someone from the nursing home, and we set up the Veterans Resource Center, is what we set up. That was not something that had my name on it. That was not something that Representative Miles brought to you. And the reason was we had to go through the senior center so that they could promote that event, okay? And the reason that I've done that, and the reason I'm telling you that, is because since I've been in this county so far, other than the wonderful support that I've gotten from the ground level, I've had to bootleg, essentially, help to your community. I do care, otherwise I wouldn't be doing the things I'm doing like that. So that's why I would hope that you would vote for me, because I do care, and I will care, but I want you to understand, I want you to make an educated vote to make sure that you understand the person that you're sending Frankfurt if you want them to represent you. And he is picking me up.
Your official time is over, but that was only 3 questions. I'm going to put it to the crowd. If you guys have any more, if someone feels they have a really good question, we're going to do one more question.
Dr. Clemens, don't you have a question?
I don't know. Really be nice. So I can't talk, she said we'd be nice.
Cordial.
Yes.
Who decides where the coal severance money goes?
The coal severance money is, there's a big, huge formula on how it's divided. Are you talking about between the counties?
Yeah.
There's this very complex formula, and that was one of the items I was asked at the forum last night, and they said, what is one thing, if you could, go back to Frankfurt and work on, I would like to work on the formula for the coal severance, because I think too much of it comes out of the top. There's like a top, a middle, and it gets down to here, and then it gets spread out to different places that don't have anything to do with more money needs to go back to the county that money came out of, no doubt. And that is why I'm concerned about the way the formula is set up right now. There's quite a bit that goes into the general fund. There's a little bit that goes over the year. there's different projects that are actually on that level, that it goes on this level of projects. Some of the money even goes to Charter Clinic. Charter Clinic doesn't exist anymore. So you all tell me. Does anyone else have any questions? I am the last one, so I'm more than willing to answer any questions that you all have. I thank you all very much for being here. I am the...
How does Howard look in our state? Are you?
In Union County, Cole looks good. But in the nation, we've got to fight for it. If we want to keep it, we have to fight for it. And if we don't fight for it, I did co-sponsor one bill this time, despite what the radio says. I did co-sponsor a bill specifically to focus on energy. And it is, there's a letter out there that it basically gives the state an opportunity to interpret what EPA says. Well, that scares me whenever someone is open to someone's interpretation. I would prefer the rules to be black and white. I want to know what the rules are. I can play by the rules if I know what the rules are. But whenever you open it up to interpretation, I think you've got to hold it all in there. On that one specifically, and I think that is a statewide thing that people say, what can you do at the EPA at the state level? If the state comes together and fights for that, I think it's crucial for the state to be a unified voice to fight back on the EPA and the water rule for that matter. Anything else? Because he's getting ready to throw me out.
Here's the thing. You can stay all night long and answer questions. Okay, but officially, we need to stop. And I've got a couple of things I need to say real quick. Number one, thanks to all the candidates that were here. We tried our best to make sure that everyone knew that we were doing this, that anyone who wanted to come could. We are super happy, proud, impressed with the fact that this many people came. Because I'm going to be honest with you, I was expecting about 10, 12, 15. When I had to get the extra chairs from upstairs, I'm kind of freaking out a little bit. I'm a big guy, I had to go up the steps a couple of times. Working out the sweat here. So it's important to say thank you to everyone that was here. On the same note, I want to say this. I personally spoke with Kathy Smith, who said that she wasn't going to be able to be here today. She had a family commitment. I personally spoke with Ben Leonard, who said he could not be here. He's the Plain City attorney. They had some important litigation in the city council meeting, could not be here tonight. And I personally spoke with Mr. John Warren, who is this Suzanne Miles' opponent, who could not be here tonight because he had a family commitment in Louisville. So just wanted to say that. I personally spoke to those candidates, that's why they weren't here. I said thank you to you guys. That was really important for me to put that on there twice. I said thank you attendees twice. So thank you guys for being here. We had videotaped this entire thing. Hopefully we're going to try to put it on the internet some way or form or fashion. I'm sure it'll be on YouTube or Facebook or Twitter or one of those social networking accounts somewhere. People are going to see me talking right now, not really knowing exactly what I'm saying, but I'm talking. And so I just want to say thank you. And also I was going to add a little thing in here just because I'm Nicolaitis and it's just kind of the way that I did things. I did allow a little bit of extra time for the last two candidates. I made that decision. So if anybody has a problem with that, I'm Nicolaitis. I made the judgment call. We're talking about it. Thank you guys for being here. We've got a little basket back here. Grace Fellowship was awesome in letting us do this here. If you have a dollar, a quarter, $100 bill, whatever, toss it in the basket. Thank you guys for being here. I know Ms. Smiles is going to be here the rest of the night. I know Tom's here. Tom will be more than glad to answer questions all night long, right, Tom? Jason's still here. I thought you shut down, man. Jason's here if you want to talk about that stuff. The candidates are still here. Please talk to them. Please talk to everybody else. Please let them know what they said. This right here is democracy. This is important. Thank you, guys.